Hey guys, back for another tier list. The goal of this tier list is to give you an accurate representation of the heroes you should aim for. I recommend building them, one at a time, one color at a time. So you should be building, one yellow, one red, one blue, one green. The main reason for that is the divinity. Uh, the faith requirements are pretty steep, and so you want to focus one at a time. Otherwise, you're going to run out of faith and not have a lot of fun. Today we're going to do the red faction, Shadowarchs, and we're going to leave URs out. So let's start with number one baby girl, Hela. She is S tier for sure. She has damage reduction and a lifesteal buff, and basically one of the very best, maybe the best Mythic Heroes player of all time. He wrote a tier list about a year ago. His name is AimB. You can just search AimB tier list or look in this description. He set like Champions Arena top PvP lineups like a year ago that are still used today. I went back and like read all of his posts. He was just like way ahead of the game, and yeah, he describes like I think this is true. Like the meta of the strongest comps in this game are all like fighter based. So Freya is very strong, like Hela is very strong, Odin's very strong, Western Queen's very strong, and Hela is very strong because she gives damage reduction and then she gives passive lifesteal, which almost like no other heroes give, and that's very good for fighters like Archimedes and Nobunaga and Apollo. So yeah, I'll put Hela in the S tier here. I would also put Faust in the S tier. Faust is very niche. He's kind of similar to Susanoo in some ways because, again, you're lining him up against the target you want to take out. He'll reduce or even eliminate the target's energy gain, swap with them, stun them, and then when he dies, he explodes for a lot of damage. I think, especially as you get deeper into PvE, he's actually like one of the only ways to break certain maps up. And then also PvP, he's really good. Even on defense, where like the opponent knows Faust is coming, he's still like really good. You see him paired up with Lilith and YSS a lot. So Lilith and then YSS, and yeah, he's really strong. Medusa. So this legendary player AimB, he thought like about a year ago that Archimedes and Medusa are like the two truly overpowered heroes in the game. And since then, like a lot of really other strong ones came out. Medusa, I'll put like in the A tier, bordering on S. She's one of the best PvE heroes, but not as good for PvP. And I actually weigh PvP quite heavily because a lot of the metal events, or at least Void Invader, is tied to uh, Medusa, along with Champions Arena. And Medusa's niche is basically she has the AOE group Petrify. I'm just gonna call her Stun or whatever. So she'll just lock down the entire team in a steal energy, and then she can just keep locking the team down while your carry kind of kills them all. So later on, she's like one of the best ways to break maps. But you need to build her weapon up, so it's kind of slower. But yeah, I would put her like A bordering S. And then I would also put Loki pretty firmly in the A tier. He's also very. Most of the Shadow Art heroes actually are pretty kinky and niche. They all have like different, you know, like weird specialties. Loki also has backline access, but he has phantoms, so he's like very durable because the phantoms will die instead of him. And a lot of the like whales on my server actually started by building up Loki first. I think he's a really good hero to focus on early and mid, because he still like retains a decent bit of value, especially against bosses and PvP at the end game. Whereas like someone like Izanami does not at all. And Izanami, speaking of, I think we can still put her in the B tier. She may be bordering C. The reason she's better than, I mean, she's like really good early game, but that doesn't really matter much because honestly, all of the good like overpowered heroes are still pretty good early game. So that doesn't really matter. I think she can still be B tier because she does like good magic damage for certain bosses, and she can actually tank in the front row because of her lifesteal and ghosts. So, and this game actually has like a shortage of like really good tanks. So, you know, I think even if you built her up like as a carry, you could always kind of use her as an off tank later on as well. So she'll like barely hold on to B tier for me. Um, Anubis, I think is better than Iznami for sure. I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's also quite interesting because he summons mummies for backline access. So like a good kind of distracting tank. He's a little more, I guess, like fragile, but you know the mummy's distraction. Like if it goes RNG in your favor, it's actually quite good. I've seen him as a part of like some strong PvP comps, and I would put him on like B slash A, and then two heroes. So Nephthys and Persephone are like kind of difficult to rate, so I'll leave them for last. Hades, I'll also put at B. He's pretty good against bosses. He has an aura that deals like true HP damage, and then his ult actually does like extra damage and has a different effect against bosses. So I think he's pretty good. I still think there's like a lot of tanks that are still better than him. You know, Odin is god tier, so you're gonna have him. YSS is not quite god tier, but like super S tier. Leonidas is way tankier, like pound for pound, because of his passives. And then Athena from the Luminarch section, I think she's also better. But yeah, I mean, he's still like kind of worth building. He's definitely not bad. Yeah, and that leaves Persephone and Nephthys, and I guess I'll start with Nephthys first. So Nephthys is like a very unusual hero. I'm gonna put her on A tier here. She has a few niches. So one is she has a debuff that increases magic damage dealt. So she's really good in like boss parties where you have like all magic damage. She's actually like, you know, the best hero in that party basically. And then she also has a suppress that makes her like pretty good if she can live. Because a lot of times when her ult charges up, there'll only be like 1 or 2 units left. Often like the most powerful enemy will be left. But she's also like really squishy, so it's kind of tough for her to ult. And then she's also classified as a mage, but she heals, so she can be like an off healer or even a main healer. But the main reason I put her in A tier, my guildmates are like really high on her, like top 10 guild, you know, very try hard pushers. And they've posted a bunch of screenshots where she's like carrying the top DPS on like Valhalla and stuff, because of her iconic weapon. So health bestowal, you know, means how much she can heal others, but this ability actually buffs her damage up super high if she can be protected. And so she's putting up like ridiculous damage numbers. I think she's actually like quite good. She's also mages are like underpowered in the meta right now, so I think she's actually one of those heroes that's just gonna keep getting better with time. So I think Nephthys is definitely worth investing in. She's an A. And then Persephone, I pulled a lot of copies of her because she was on the Nobu banner and Nobunaga banner, and I actually built her IW 200 like way too early, and she's actually like really disappointed me personally, because she doesn't like do that much damage and stuff. I'm still gonna put her in A tier because a lot of higher level players than me do recommend her like in this range. She has like a few very specific niches, but the main one that's important, that you don't see in the game often, is she does do a melee damage reduction. Actually not melee, but like full physical damage reduction. She also strips buffs and reduces healing and does like true HP damage. So I got super excited to build her IW 200 because I thought this, you know, damage would be really good against bosses. But I was personally disappointed. But I think she still belongs in A tier, maybe more like B tierish. But I see her in a lot of top PvP and PvE comps. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, I would love to discuss it with you. Would appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you for watching.